Hi, my name's Debbie. Welcome to the You Matter Self-Care Summit for Working Mums. And today we're joined by Chelle Shohet, and she's going to go through relationships between personal style and self-care. So thanks very much, Chelle, for joining us. And
you're so welcome.
Let you take it away.
Thank you so much. Wow, what an amazing opportunity to have to come on and speak to you all. It's a passionate subject, the relationship between personal style and self-care, because I used self-care and my personal style to help in my own recovery from depression and anxiety, and also from physical health problems that I've had in the past. So a quick introduction as to who I am, if you've never come across me before. My name's Chelle Shohet, and I am an international stylist, coach, speaker and author. I work with speakers and entrepreneurs from all walks of life, from all industries, to help them look and feel more stylish, more confident, and ultimately become more visible, whether that's in life or in business. So whatever part of life that you want to become more visible, whether that's taking to the stage as a speaker or an entrepreneur, whether that's going to a networking event, or maybe it's going to a one-to-one meeting, maybe it's going on a date, going to a special occasion, or even just going out for dinner with friends. If you want to look and feel more stylish or more confident or more like yourself, then kind of nailing your personal style and nailing your self-care are two of the biggest steps you can do in order to achieve that. So when we talk about self-care, we are talking about lots of different elements. When I talk about self-care, I'm not only talking about the physical elements, like making sure that you drink enough, making sure you sleep enough, making sure that you actually move your body enough each day, and you manage to eat the right foods for your body to optimize all of your energy. But I'm also talking about emotional and mental health as well. So there's many people who can tell you, and I can tell you, all about the different things that you need to do to sleep enough, to drink enough clear fluids, to sleep enough at night, have enough hours in the night where you're sleeping, but also to move your body enough. But not many people talk about the emotional and the mental health needs that each and every one of us have. So things like wanting to feel connected. Now that connection could be between yourself, more connected to yourself. It could be connected to a greater purpose. It could be connected to a community and feel belonging. That's a need that we have as humans. Also feeling like you're achieving something, like you're actually making headway in something, whether that is to learn a new skill or to achieve a task that you're doing each day. We need to feel like we're achieving something. It can also mean being part, as I said, of something bigger. So that could be community and feeling that connection to community. But it can also mean religion, or your belief in universe, or your belief to higher self. Feeling like you belong and like there's something bigger than yourself meets a need. And the biggest one for me is feeling more of a sense of self. And this is where your personal style comes into its own. So you'll see by all of those things that I've spoken about, all of them kind of intertwine, they all overlap. Having a sense of connection can be a connection to oneself. It can feel like you're having more of your sense of self. A connection could be to your community. It could be to a higher self, or a bigger thought, or a bigger sense of something bigger. So they all overlap, just as having a real sense of self overlaps in many areas. When I talk about sense of self and feeling like you have confidence in your own skin, then I'm talking about, and please forgive me for checking my notes and everything, because I've got so much to share with you today that I didn't want to miss anything. So this can be achieved by knowing the bare basics around personal style. This can be achieved by knowing your body shape, knowing the right colours for yourself, but also in knowing what works for your personality, what you like and what you don't like. Having that knowledge and being confident in that knowledge, knowing that you are solid and very confident in knowing that, say, that colour doesn't work for you, or that colour does work for you, knowing that because you have a hourglass body shape that this works for you, but also if you at any point put on some weight and you become more of a pear shape, that styling it that way will actually work for you better. Knowing these pieces of knowledge gives you more confidence in your own mindset, in your own decisions, and in your own intuition, which all drives towards the sense of self. Knowing what you do and don't like. So yes, we have these rules in fashion and in style about if you're this body shape, you should wear these sorts of shapes. And if you're this colour set, you should wear these set of colours. But you have to also bring in your personality, because it doesn't matter what I say in the changing room. If that doesn't work for your body, if that works for your body shape, but it doesn't work for your personality, you won't wear it, and you won't feel that need being met. You won't feel more confident in your own skin, and you won't meet that need of actually feeling that sense of self. I hope that's making sense. So knowing what you do and what you don't like is very, very important. Knowing what fabrics, what hobbies, and I'm not talking about just when it comes to clothes, because our personal style will reflect many things. It will reflect whether or not you're a romantic at heart. It can reflect whether or not you are a classic person, so someone who likes nice clean lines, very sharp tailoring, or whether you are more of a light and airy personality and you like to see how things go, and you like to feel cottons and chiffons and things like that. All these different aspects of your personality will come in, and then all of a sudden your clothes will be able to talk for you as well as frame you, if that makes sense. So we have the opportunity to use your personal style as a form of self-care. So if you think about it, we all have to get up in the morning, and we all, as society dictates, we all need to get dressed. We wouldn't necessarily go off and go to the supermarket nude, and we wouldn't go and take the kids to school nude, and we wouldn't show up on camera nude. Okay, so if we know that we have to get dressed, and we also know that the best way to practice self-care in order to meet those different needs is to actually create some routines and some rituals around the things that meet those needs, then we can bring in our personal style, and we can bring in the act of getting dressed each and every day. I hope that makes sense. Please feel free to ask questions at any point, even if you're catching up on the replay. So you have an opportunity, as with any self-care practice, to create your very own self-care practice around your clothing, around getting dressed each day. And this is an opportunity that you will be able to use not only on a daily basis to set your day up, but also use to express your mood and your intentions for the day, your energy for the day, whether you're excited, whether you're in a quiet, more contemplatory mood. All of these things you can bring to life and you can communicate without saying a word through your clothes. So let me go through maybe how you would discover your personal style, and then how you would create a self-care practice in order to bring that to life, and how you can use the process of discovering your personal style to actually feed your self-care and actually get to know yourself and get a greater sense of self in the process. I hope that will be of value to you. So where you would start around discovering your personal style would be to get to know what you do and don't like. And as I said, this includes hobbies, this includes fabrics, this includes your moods, this includes getting to know what you enjoy wearing, what you enjoy looking at, what you enjoy experiencing, what hobbies you have right now, what things you might want to have a go at and try. By gathering kind of like a scrapbook of this information, it can be a physical one, but you could also use a Pinterest board. Create a Pinterest board around you, your likes, your dislikes, things that light you up, things that make you smile, experiences that you want to experience, hobbies maybe you've let go and would love to restart. Bring them all in, then look at people that inspire you. Maybe you see someone, an influential person on TV or in the business world, or maybe they are in magazines, or you have someone at work that you look up to and you love the way that they look so effortlessly stylish. Look at them and decide what is the element that you like from their style and pick that out. Is it the clean lines? Is it the romantic frills or layering? Is it the jewelry or is it the makeup? Is it the colours or is it the fabrics? Go on a real exploration of you. Learn, have you fallen into the trap of being stuck in not doing very many things for yourself? Use it as an opportunity to review your self-care. Do you do enough things that light you up? Do you go on dates with yourself? Do you do the meditation? What sorts of meditations do you like? When you know all of this, it's a lot easier for you to then answer the questions around, okay, I am a romantic style, or I have a very classic personal style personality, or I am a very vivacious person that likes a bit of this and a bit of that. And that's allowed. Actually, it's encouraged, because the more you can make it unique to you, the better. So you can create a little date for yourself around finding out what works for you, finding out more about yourself, creating that personal style. And then when you've got that in place, and even before, you can start looking at your daily activity of getting dressed as a routine, as a ritual of self-care. So there is lots and lots of evidence out there that says that actually blocking and building lots of routines where there's stepping stones on top, one on top of the other. So if you are trying to get into doing affirmations, for instance, a lot of recommendations, you get up, you drink a glass of water, you go clean your teeth, you say your affirmations, and you do that every day. So it becomes a little routine. So when you're getting dressed, it could be you go have a shower, you get out the shower, you put some moisturizer on, you get dressed. And as you get dressed, you're looking in the mirror, you say your affirmations. It could be that you have a shower, you get dressed, you as you're getting dressed, you put some, you do some affirmations, or you do some chanting, or you do a meditation, or you listen to a podcast. Whatever the little routine is for you, make it something that feeds your mind, feeds your body, feeds your senses. Because then getting dressed won't be just about chucking on something quick and easy. There'll be a whole process. And even on the days where you're rushed, what you'll find is that you'll still be able to make time in your schedule to get dressed, because you know by doing that you're setting yourself up for success. You're giving yourself the time and the space that you need to meet those emotional needs, as well as the physical and mental needs that come with it. So I hope that makes a lot of sense. Now, currently we're in a climate where right now getting up and getting dressed is even more important, because there's some other things that it meets, some other self-care situations that it meets and needs, but also some mental things that it can meet as well. Just getting up and getting dressed, especially if you find yourself homeschooling the kids, working from home especially, or find yourself at home when you're not usually at home so much. You're usually very active and very focused. By getting up and getting dressed each day, what you're doing is you're signaling to your brain that you are up for the day. There's a difference between night and day. It also signals that you're up and you're ready to focus, and you're able to focus far, far easier and have a far higher energy by doing that act of getting dressed. For the rest of the day, your energy will be far higher than if you sat down and were in the low energy zone. So you were maybe sat around in your pajamas, or in loungewear that feels far too relaxed, or that you would wear to bed, if that makes sense. So doing the act of getting dressed, even if you haven't nailed your personal style right now, use it as a definite switch. Use it as a way to switch and to tell your body and your mind and your emotions, right, it's time to get up for the day. We do it with our kids. We get them up and we make sure that they get dressed. We don't leave them in their pajamas all day, because then it allows us to get them back out of their clothes and into their pajamas at the end of the day, in order for them to be able to settle down and associate with going to sleep. So we kind of have to do that for ourselves right now. And in doing so, you will kickstart that connection between self-care, between focus, between positive energies and positive mindsets, and you getting dressed. This way, it allows you to utilize something that we simply have to do and see it as a self-care ritual. And that way, then it changes our mindset around what getting dressed is all about. It brings it back to us and a very personal experience, a very personal practice, and it allows you to shift from one place to another, from one mindset to another, but it also allows you to craft the type of personal style that you want, but also the type of self-care that you want. So do we have any questions around that? Are any questions already been sent in, Debbie?
There's nothing there at the moment, Chelle. I've just asked a lot of people working from home, is it worth like getting dressed in your office suit and so that you connect that and get into the frame of mind of I'm at work now, I'm dressed as I would be if I went out to the office?
I think that's a fantastic question. I would definitely recommend that you get dressed, and you do get dressed in a focused way, but I would recommend that you kind of create yourself like a small working from home little capsule wardrobe if you're definitely going to be going back to work or going back into an office. So you want to be comfortable, and more comfortable than maybe you would be going to the office. So let me break that down a little bit. So at the office, we would often wear heels. So you probably won't want to be wearing heels around the house. And you may be wearing things like jackets and blazers or skirts that are more aimed at keeping you warm in the outdoors and being far more slick and often more restrictive when you're working from than when you would be working from home. So what I would do is I would look at your wardrobe and look at the way that you could pull together things that would on screen and while you're working give you that I feel smart enough that if my boss was to come to the door, I would not be afraid to open the door, and I wouldn't be uncomfortable to stand there and have a conversation with him. But I wouldn't go as far as to say that if you are in the corporate world, you would need to necessarily wear the suits that you're wearing at work, because you're not going to be as comfortable in your own home wearing those suits, because it's just not relaxed enough quite, but it's going towards the point of being uncomfortable, whereas it's comfortable in the office because your mindset is open to that. But when you bring it into the home, it has the opposite effect. So it's about finding the middle ground. So some of the things that I would suggest, and some of the things I've been working with a few of my corporate clients on, is creating a little capsule wardrobe. And the things that we've been putting in it, and you can see in the background there, is some really easy wide leg trousers, a pair of jeans, some longer skirts, or a really easy shirt dresses or wrap dresses. We also have matched them with t-shirts, like crisp white t-shirts or a crisp white shirt, something that you can still feel very confident in and very comfortable in, but at the same time, it's not as restrictive as maybe some of our office clothes are, but it still gives you that confidence to be able to answer the door or go on camera and still feel professional and confident and comfortable. So it's finding that fine line. Does that answer your question, Debbie?
Yeah, that's great, Chelle. Thank you very much for that.
You're so welcome.
I just wanted to ask sort of, I know colour therapy and different moods can affect you. So
yeah.
Could you explain a bit about sort of the influence of colour on
Yes, of course. So when it comes to colour, there's lots and lots of different areas that colour can affect. And there's definitely an effect of colour on psychology, on our mental health, and the way that we view and see ourselves. So we all have a perfect colour palette. And the way you find that out is you have to find out what your undertone is. And there are two undertones, blue undertone and a yellow undertone. And that will determine what undertone of colours that you would need to use in order to bring your skin to life and in order for your eyes to pop. You then have, in each of those areas, you then have a cool and a warm area. The cool is the brighter and more stark colours. The warm is the softer, more tonal colours. And what happens is, when you find your ideal tone of colours, when you find your ideal palette, there will always be things like a red, there'll be a blue that works for you, there'll be a shade of neutrals, so whether that's a navy blue and an off-white, or whether that's the camel colours and the beiges and the creams, or whether that's black and white. And what you find is you find those colours and those work for helping you build your wardrobe. Now, when it comes to psychology and colour, different colours have a different effect on moods. And you will need to find out what colours affect your mood. Like for me, if I'm wearing black and white, I'm usually not in a great mood. Black and white doesn't suit me. And I realised once I learned that, it made a lot of sense as to why black and white for me didn't work for me. It didn't give me the right sort of mood. I would look in the mirror and I would see the wrong thing. I would see myself as drawn out. I would see myself as puffy and grey and everything like that. Naturally, blue colours are quite regal colours. Red colours are quite vibrant. Now, they can be angry, but they can equally be quite opulent colours. Purple is a very strong, very connected colour. So it's a colour for royalty. It's also a colour for kind of connection with the higher, with your higher self, with religion. It has lots of connotations. But also greens and oranges, yellows, all of these colours, they can, depending on their tone, can have different effects. So it does come down to the tone, and it does come down, when it comes to clothes, it comes down to your palette and your undertone. Working that out will work out the right ones for you, but you'll soon know very quickly if you've got the wrong one for you on, because it'll be louder than you, or it will make you look and feel uncomfortable or drawn out or ill or something. The whole subject of how colour relates to personal style, confidence and everything like that is a huge subject. But if you work on the premise that the bolder the colours, the stronger the energy behind them, there are very strong colours around blues and purples, as well as reds, that have a really instantaneous effect. So reds are very much associated with that very powerful but very, what's the word to describe it? It can be a very angry colour, but it can also be a very provocative colour. So that can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. There's good and bad to each and every colour. The regal colour, the blue colour, can be a very powerful colour, but it can be a very domineering colour. Does that answer that and make sense, Debbie?
Yes, yeah, that does, Chelle, and it seems like there's a lot more depth to that subject, isn't there?
Huge amount. I could talk for hours and hours just on that subject, because each colour has all its different layers and all its different effects, but also then you have different colours in different areas. But the most important thing around personal style when it comes to colour is to find out your undertone and find out your colour palette, because then all of a sudden the colours that maybe you've avoided or the colours that haven't worked, you understand why, but also you all of a sudden have a vast array of colours that do work for you, and all of a sudden that opens a whole new door for you.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's really fascinating.
So have you got any questions around your personal style and your personal care, Debbie? And how it would work for you?
I'd probably look at pointers maybe if you need picking up on the day.
So when you discover your personal style, so when you work out your personal style, it's great to have someone work with you on it, because they can pick things out that you might not pick out. But if you've been working on it yourself and you've built up a wardrobe for yourself around your right colour palette, the right clothes, when you're having one of those days, the best thing to do is to have pictures of every outfit you can create out of everything in your wardrobe. Because then when you're not having a great day, you can look at those pictures and go, okay, I'm gonna wear that. If you have a wardrobe that works really hard for you rather than against you, then everything in there should work together. So all the tops should go with all the bottoms, all the jackets should go with all the dresses, all the tops, all the bottoms, and everything. So it should be able to mix and match. And what this does is it takes out the stress and it takes out the worry, and it makes it easy for you to chuck anything on and still have that lift, if that makes sense. And then the other thing that you can do is choose your outfits well in advance. So if you, like me, have lots of appointments throughout the week and you know your schedule throughout the week, then for me on a Sunday evening, I'd take a look at my schedule and go, okay, I've got this appointment, I'm going live then, I want to do this, I want to do that. Okay, what energy do I want to bring to those days? And I make the decisions there on a Sunday night as best I can. I pull together the outfits I want to wear and I kind of designate them to different days. And that way it takes out the decision making. So if I get up feeling a little bit and not wanting to, not feeling my best, maybe I've had a really tough night, maybe my little one's been poorly, or I've woken up with a headache or something, then I can concentrate on that rather than worry about what I'm wearing. But equally, what I'm wearing can then also help lift my mood, because I like everything I'm wearing and I've chosen it for a reason already. But it takes away the need for making those choices on the day. So if I am lacking in any other way, I can concentrate on building that up rather than having to make another decision. And I don't know about you, Debbie, but on those days where I get up and I'm feeling not 100%, making another decision is just, sometimes it's too much.
Yeah, I like that idea of being mindful of what's coming up and what you might want to wear and preempt all those. That's really sort of new way to look at it for me. That would be like half an hour before I'm going out, throwing out the wardrobe and saying, what am I going to wear? So
yeah, because what you can do is you can literally make those decisions from a calm and controlled place by almost setting an intention as to how you want to show up on that day and how you want to look and feel on that day, or at that event, or at that meeting. And then you're almost making those decisions from far enough away from that time that it allows you the time and the space to get into them, and you've already set that intention, so it makes it easier to show up in that energy, if that makes sense, and your clothes will go with it.
Yeah, so you're looking at it more objectively opposed to a panic in the moment. Yeah, because
we've only got so many decisions that we can make in any one day, around about 97,000 odd decisions that we have to make each day, and we only have the brain power for a fair amount of those. And so the less decisions you have to make in any given day, the better. So if you set yourself a time to plan your wardrobe in advance, even when we're in lockdown right now, if you have a capsule wardrobe, if you create yourself a really quick and easy capsule wardrobe, that you just concentrate on using that during lockdown, then that takes away a lot of the stress and the anxiety, but you equally know that you're not going to be stuck in pajamas because you can't make a decision, or you're not going to be stuck in something that if your boss came to the door you would not be happy to be seen in.
Yeah, that makes sense, definitely.
And it gives a good impression as well for the kids. It sets a good example for the kids getting up and getting dressed. It keeps them in a good routine and a good practice, because eventually we are going to have to get them back to school, and we are going to have to, we'll all be back in one day or other. We'll all be back at that point. We've got to get them up and ready for school and ourselves up and ready for work. And so if we can maintain even just the slightest of routine around that, then we're making sure that we're paving the way for an easier transition the other side of this.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense as well. Yeah.
It's one of those subjects, personal style, self-care. It's one of those subjects that's really personal. So if any of your viewers have questions after the summit or on the replays and that, please reach out and let me know, and I will do my best to answer any questions or give any pointers from this point of view on this subject and any subject as regards to personal style.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks very much, Chelle. I know
if
I'm sort of slobbing out and it gets to 8-9 o'clock and I'm still in my PJs, I feel that I should be up and ready, and I don't feel right and ready to seize the day. So it definitely has an impact. And
it really does.
And a lot of people in lockdown are feeling sort of that routine as being kind of misled somehow, and really need to just feel focused and uplifted. And I think this is part of the structure to put in place to get on with that.
Yeah, just get up and get dressed, and just that practice in itself will help. And then if you can then move on to, like, if you've got time right now, now's the perfect time to really dig deep and kind of explore that personal style, if you have the time right now, because it's actually quite a therapeutic process, and it can be a very therapeutic process because you can get to know yourself so much more and so much better in the process, and it can be a really joyous experience for you, your body, your mind, your soul, and it can set you up for lots of things, but also at the same time keep you on track for when you have to go, when we come out of all this pandemic and lockdown and everything else.
Yeah, I can imagine it's a real treat to like indulge yourself and explore and self-realization through all your wardrobe, your clothes and the colour choices.
Yeah.
So it'll be just an absolute sort of like luxury to have all that time and really get to grips with what works with you.
Yeah, it can be really exciting, it can be really eye-opening, and it can be really inspirational as well.
That's great. Thanks very much, Chelle, and thanks.
You are so welcome.
Right.
Thank you very much, everybody, and I hope that you'll let me know if there's any questions.